Thank you for joining us for the Advancing Oceanside Podcast, brought to you by the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. The Advancing Oceanside Podcast hosts business and community leaders from all industries to help inform, better educate, and ultimately advocate for a prosperous economic climate here in Oceanside. Before we jump into today's episode, we've got a quick message from our sponsor, FrontWave Credit Union.
We're for the trailblazers and the thrill seekers, the craftsmen and the tastemakers, those dedicated to country and community, family and friends, working to carve out a better life for themselves in a patch of California that's more focused on authenticity than image, more substance than show. We're FrontWave Credit Union for banking, lending, saving, planning. We're the place to get started and the place to kick it into high gear. So dream big. We got you.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Advancing Oceanside Podcast. We are thrilled to welcome Captain Ernie of the Oceanside Sea Center. During this interview, you'll hear all about the incredible work the Oceanside Sea Center is doing for fishing trips to educational opportunities and partnerships to fighting for challenges within the sport fishing industry. Captain Ernie is an absolute wealth of knowledge and is so passionate about growing the industry here in Oceanside. So, let's just jump right into it. Portia, take us away.
Good morning, Captain Ernie. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent today, Portia. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm just so excited to have you here today for Advancing Oceanside. And let's just hop into it. My favorite question to ask people is, where are you originally from? And if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, that's a good question. All right, so I am a native Angelino. Basically, I was born and raised in Los Angeles, mostly in the San Gabriel Valley, East San Gabriel Valley, where I grew up with a sister who's a couple years younger than I am, and went off to college and went to Cal State Northridge, degree in kinesiology. And so I was born and raised in LA. And in 2001, I had an opportunity it actually started in 2000, had an opportunity to move to San Diego with the sport fishing business that I had already been involved in for a long time. And myself and my new bride at the time moved to Point Loma in January of 2001 and have been in San Diego ever since then, in San Diego County, and absolutely have fallen in love with it. Call it home. Call it, it's got our heart from day one. So we really are really happy to be here in San Diego County. And now, basically spent a little over 17 years there in Point Loma. And 5 years ago, we moved up to Oceanside.
I love that. O-side or no side.
That's it.
And then, so how did you get started with the Oceanside Sea Center? I know you had mentioned that you were down in Point Loma, and then opportunity presented itself here in Oceanside?
That's correct. So I've been involved in the sport fishing industry in some capacity pretty much my entire life. My grandfather, my father, and my uncle were all avid fishermen, and we would travel to Baja a lot in the summer and go out on charter fishing boats. And I grew up fishing and hunting and just being outside with my dad and my grandfather. And the tackle shop was like a natural place for me to want to hang out. So I got involved in the tackle business while I was in college. Yeah. And it probably would be about 7 years ago now at this time, the city of Oceanside was looking for a new look towards the sport fishing. They basically put an RFP out looking for a new, see if there's anyone new and interested in bringing sport fishing to the city here. Nice. And Captain Joe on the Sea Star is a person that I had known through most of my life. When I was in high school, my father used to charter his boat to go out fishing. So I've known Joe for a really long time. So and we'd kept in touch through the industry. I think one of the unique things about working in a small kind of niche style industry, especially one that's very geographically located, like it's very, I mean, there's fishermen all around the world, but we have our industry is very geographic to Southern California. We kind of all hang together, and we all have grown up together. So one of the most exciting things in my life, I can tell you, is being able to go to people that I'm now are my peers and say, hey, I was that high school kid that loved fishing and loved being out in the ocean, and you helped, you know, your excitement and enthusiasm for the industry is what brought me here. So there's a list of names, Captain Joe being one of them, but there's a whole bunch of other people that I always kind of try and drop that dime on them when I see them, and they always get a kick out of it. So it's like, hey, yeah, I was a kid, you know. So.
And now you're at the Oceanside Sea Center. I love it. I love it. So I know you do a lot in the community. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what makes you passionate about developing and promoting Oceanside?
You know, first off, thank you for noticing that we do a lot in the community. The whole Sea Center does. We are, you know, when we decided that we were going to try and, you know, make a go of this Sea Center and bring in a new and unique business here to Oceanside, we being myself, Captain Joe Casciola, and Dr. Chugi Sepulveda from the Flagler Institute of Environmental Research, we sat down and kind of discussed what was important to all of us. And we all have our expertise and our you know, what we're the most passionate about involved inside of the sport fishing industry or inside of the fishing industry or marine education, marine life, basically the ocean. You know, we all have different aspects of the ocean that we're the most passionate about. And one thing that I have always really held close and near and dear to my heart is that, you know, getting people out on the water is so much more than just a fish catching experience. There is an experience involved. There's a therapeutic experience in relaxing, being out at the sea. One of the things that really has always attracted me to it, and a lot of my peers, I feel, when we get a chance to talk about it, is that every day is different, and every day we get a chance to reinvent ourselves. Where you're only kind of the competitive side of the fishing aspect is that you're only as good as the last time you went fishing, as far as the captain goes, you know, when you're driving the boat, and you're constantly trying to kind of figure, everything's always changing. The sea temperatures are changing, the conditions are changing, the surf, the wind, the weather, so many factors. So every day you're like, okay, what's on tap today? Okay, I remember what happened yesterday, but maybe it's starting to change a little bit. So that makes it really exciting. And when we came together, all of that, we want to be able to bring that to the youth. Because there's a lot of young people, especially here. When we first got to Oceanside, we realized that there's a huge community of underserved youth just with ocean experiences, the opportunity to go out and go fishing, go whale watching, go take a marine life, a marine education course, and really kind of get a grasp of the part of the world that they live right next door to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We love your enthusiasm and your passion and, you know, the Oceanside Sea Center. And you kind of touched on what the Oceanside Sea Center is, but could you go a little more into depth about what you guys do at the Oceanside Sea Center?
Absolutely. So basically, the Oceanside Sea Center, we've taken C, it's kind of a double acronym. So it's SEA, so that stands for Sport Fishing, Education, and Adventure.
Nice.
And those are three things we try to touch base on, three topics and three aspects of our industry. So the sport fishing is what I would call like our traditional Southern California style sport fishing. We have boats that range from 45 feet to 65 feet. And we do half day, 3/4 day, some overnight, private charters, and what we call open party fishing, where you can just book a space and bring your group or yourself, if you'd like, out with a larger group or join up with a larger group and spend the day with them on trips that are based on a time distance, a 5-hour trip, 8-hour trip. Now that's our sport fishing. Then we do some education, and that's because we have teamed up with the Flagler Institute, which is the Flagler Institute of Environmental Research. Make sure I get that right.
Here, yeah.
And they are so Pierre is a longtime Oceanside resident. They've been here for over 20 years. They've moved around. They were in downtown. They were in South O. When we first came here, part of what I really enjoyed about Oceanside is we had all of our first brainstorming sessions at the Pier office down in South O. So I really got a chance to kind of feel what the city was, because I really didn't know anything about Oceanside before I got involved in moving my business here. I knew very little about the city. And I still feel like I'm learning a lot about it. I love it. I learn stuff all the time about it, excited about it. But I digress here. The education aspect of it is something that we've been developing. It's kind of a work in progress. Education with it, the school systems and getting kids to the program is a little bit more difficult. It's been a little bit constraint after the shutdowns that we experienced. So we're trying to grow this back. But what we do offer, we offer a couple different options here. We have classroom charters on board the Sea Star that does a marine life education class, where they actually go to do some kind of classroom style education. So on the back of the boat, they do some classroom style education, and then Joe takes them out, and then they drag a trawl net, and they get to look at some of the different organisms that live in not only in the bay but then out in the open ocean here close. So really unique coastal community here, where we have rivers that feed into the ocean, and there's a whole bunch of different parts of our ecosystem that are really, the best thing I can say is it's very noticeable and a lot more relatable. You can teach someone with a visual learner. You can teach them really easily when you're out on the ocean, and when you can look up and you can see the Palomar, you can see the mountains, you can see the mountains on Camp Pendleton. You say, okay, so when the water starts up there, it runs down into these rivers, and then it's here. And you see it in people's faces. They go, oh, like, I didn't know that was there. Just because your perspective is very different when driving around in a car than when it is
Absolutely
on the ocean. When you're on the ocean on the boat and no one else is around you. So, and so our last part would be adventure, and we're constantly trying to grow that adventure aspect of our business. Right now, we do marine life trips where you get really amazing interactions with whales, dolphins, all marine mammals, and those are 90-minute trips. We do on a little small fast boat. In the wintertime, we will offer the larger boats to go out and do marine life education tours as well. So basically whale watching, so on a little different level, because we're doing them in a small boat, and it's quicker, a little bit more high pace, high energy, and our customers enjoy it very much. But we are looking to add some other aspects too. We hope in the near future to be adding some parasailing and some other stuff to our, so that's something we're working on right now.
First up.
You volunteer? You sure? All right.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
You can tell me all about it, because I'm gonna keep my feet firmly on the ground.
Feedback. I love that. So you touched a little bit about sport fishing, and then focusing on the sport fishing aspect of your business first. Can you tell us a little bit about the industry here in Oceanside? So what is unique about the sport fishing industry here locally?
So that's a good question.
I
think some of so the first thing I would say that really makes it unique is that it is very small. So one of the things that I know Oceanside prides itself on is the fact that we do have a harbor. Yes. And we are one of only a few towns, like actual small cities, that have a harbor. Yeah. So because it's a small harbor, it's about 1,000 slips. We do share it with the military on the other side, our United States Marine Corps. it's a very small industry, but it's only small because we have such behemoths to the north and the south of us. The largest sport fishing fleet in the nation, the one that carries the most people, that has the big boats that carry the most amount of passengers a year, is in San Diego. So, and then probably second to that would be Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So, and the port of Los Angeles, which is enormous. I mean, it's just vast. The breakwall that creates Los Angeles Harbor is almost 8 miles long. So
wow.
It's a much different environment than what we have here in Oceanside. But because it's small, it's a very small, tight-knit community.
Yeah.
We have some of the best. I can say this proudly. I'm not from here, but I am now here. But
welcome.
I can tell you that Oceanside has been home to and brought some of the best fishermen in the fleet. You know, guys that just really understand the ocean and are very successful at being fishermen for themselves on a commercial level, or for recreation, where they guide people and take people out fishing. The list is really long. I would not want to offend anyone by saying names, but just, I mean, I see younger generation of the guys that are coming up now that are 18 and 19 and 20. And, it goes all the way back to the 60s and 70s when this harbor started. Some of the top marlin fishermen in Southern California called Oceanside home. Some very successful people have come out of this little tiny harbor. And that's one of the main reasons why I felt that Oceanside deserved a gem, a high quality fishing operation, because of its production of just fabulous mariners and people that are involved in the maritime industry.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And then what excites you about your job in the Sea Center?
Oh, wow. So learning, growing, changing. That's kind of what I tell myself almost every day. I try and tell myself that I feel like as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, I get an opportunity to learn something new every day.
Absolutely.
Grow my business and really try and keep an open mind, which is the hardest part of my day, because we all get jaded and tired, and it's tough. This industry in the sport fishing, the sport fishing industry in California, we do a phenomenal job of managing our resources. That we're very unified across all of Southern California. The Sport Fishing Association of California is a nonprofit organization of sport fishing landing owners and boat owners from basically Santa Barbara to San Diego. We have a few members a little bit north of there, but we have just another association in Northern California. But we're well organized. We all are very passionate about the ocean. We work really well with the Department of Fish and Wildlife, who is the state's management of our fisheries. But even with all that being said, there's a lot of challenges, regulatory challenges, restrictions, time restrictions. So it makes it exciting. I get excited about it. I get enthusiastic about a majority of what has to happen. It is a tough, sometimes you feel like you can never kind of come up for a breath. It never gets easy as far as that aspect of it goes. Yeah. But here in Oceanside, we have a phenomenal support from the harbor and the harbor staff, and we have a really great location. And I feel that we are positioned to continually be able to provide the services that we're offering now. And as long as we continue to manage ourselves and manage our fisheries, it's going to be we've got a positive future ahead of us.
I love that. You hit all 3 points. what excites you, what challenges you, and then, what does the future of the industry look like, and just bringing that, bringing awareness to the harbor and what you guys have to offer and conservation. And you guys are just so amazing. And I could say that firsthand because I did a half-day trip with Captain.
I know you
Ernie.
came out and enjoyed the day with us, and
it's
you also got a little bit of extra. You got to come up in the wheelhouse and hang out with us. But
I drove the boat.
We invite
at this point. I drove the boat. Ladies and gentlemen, I drove the boat.
We also offer that to a lot of our customers. They want to come up. My wheelhouse door is always open. I try and stay polite and tell people, hey, I'm going to need, like, if I'm traveling and it's safe, sure, come on in. I'll explain to you what I see and what I'm looking at. There's obviously times when we're in the harbor, I'm maneuvering. I need to be able to move, and I need to be able to react. That's my biggest fear, is just not being able to react.
And those opportunities that you do have downtime. I saw there was a family visiting from Arizona, and the young boy was like, hey, can I come up here and check it out? And you spent that time just engaging with the dad, the father, and the son. Your crew, phenomenal crew. Those guys are so amazing. Did they assist me on catching the biggest fish that day on the boat? Yes, but don't tell that part of the story. But I mean, you guys have something truly amazing going on, and it was just really exciting to see it firsthand and just spend the day. And you guys have the galley, and you guys have food. Y'all, there is food on that boat. You want a burrito? You want a cheeseburger?
Good burger,
They got you. So, I mean, really great experience. And so, with that being said, what do you believe separates your fleet from others in Southern California? What's unique about your fleet?
Well, I would love to say that, I mean, what we try and focus on, what I hope that, and what I try and instill in my employees, my crew, my staff, is that we are very receptive and understanding to first timers and visitors. And you'd be amazed. A lot of people, we get a lot of fishermen from other states that want to come out and experience ocean fishing for the first time. So it's, we educate and we entertain them, to borrow something from a fellow captain that he shared with me years and years ago. We're educators and we're entertainers. And so we're teaching them our style of fishing, which you have to kind of handle that with, a certain demeanor, because many of these fishermen are they're great, they're great freshwater bass fishermen, or maybe they live on the East Coast and they fish striped bass in the ocean, or they're good flounder fishermen. So you have to kind of respect their skills that they've already brought to the table. So you have to show them that this is what we do, because we have a very unique fishery here in Southern California that allows us to fish with live bait. The guys work really hard for us to provide live bait. So many places across the nation, the guys are not fishing with live bait. So that itself makes it unique and fun. So you're teaching people how to do that, but also just entertaining the guests. Like when I am on the boat, I love to ask people, hey, where do you come? Oh, you guys are staying at the Mission Pacific. That's awesome. Yeah. What kind of food do you like? Where are you looking to go? Like, I love to be able to share the city of Oceanside with my customers. And I think that there's a lot of businesses that feel that way, and we all have become so friendly, especially down here in the harbor. Like, I'm proud of my business neighbors here to say, hey, go grab breakfast next door at the Stratford, go see Luis upstairs in the lighthouse. These guys do great jobs. Are you like Italian? Dominic, grab some dinner when you get in here. Like, come visit all of us here in the harbor.
Absolutely.
Because the harbor is a little gem that is, at times it feels a little underutilized. At times, of course, we feel overwhelmed, like everything. But sometimes it's like, man, we could really make this place a really, really nice destination. And people are seeing it. As you saw,
Absolutely.
As you see, we have so many people visiting here now, and really enjoying Oceanside. in all of its aspects. I'm looking at the map there behind you and seeing all this
Absolutely.
amazing farmland out here to your left side of your face there.
Yeah. No, see, I love it. I love it. I know you had talked about PEER a little bit, and it stands for Flagler Institute of Environmental Research. I had to check my notes so I didn't mess it up.
There you go.
I had started out in South O, and forgive my ignorance, I was not familiar with PEER. So maybe you can share with the listeners a little bit about your partnership and what PEER is.
So absolutely. So I'd love to. And I can't not speak highly enough about these guys. It's a really small nonprofit, and they focus on the science in our fisheries. So it's a little bit, it's not 100% clear. They don't 100% operate only in the recreational fishing industry. They do operate some in the commercial fishing industry, but really what they do is they provide research and data. So they're collecting, they're a nonprofit that goes out, collects data for not only the fish that we catch recreationally. So the state of California has, not everybody knows this, I'm just going to kind of go so quick for the cut. So for the listeners, that we have certain species of fish are designated recreation only. So you can go catch them. We do a lot of catch and release on our bass, the bass being one of the first of them. So we can collect it, but we are not, we can keep them, but you will not find those in a commercial environment. You can't buy those and sell those. Can't catch them and sell them on the market. So majority of what these guys do is they're studying those species and our effects on those species and just the health of the stock. But they also are working on bringing more sustainable fisheries to California. So we have a huge seafood importation business in this country. And we import a large, high percentage of what we consume. And there are sustainable fisheries here in Southern California that would provide high quality, not only high quality product to the consumer, but bring a level of what am I trying to say here? Basically create jobs, like small family farms.
Yeah.
The best way to describe it is like small family farms. So these guys have Dr. Sepulveda and Dr. Alpers have gone out of their way to establish a zero bycatch swordfish fishery. They're tagging and tracking a lot of these bluefin tuna, which we're seeing in the Southern California bight, that haven't been here for 100 years. Wow. They've always been around, but the stock is very healthy, but they kind of haven't invaded the Southern California waters until the last, like 100 years ago, it was like how it is now. This is like the good old days when it comes to the bluefin tuna fishery. Wow. So they've been doing a lot of research with that. They do a lot of research, coastal research with our calico bass, sand bass, halibut, white sea bass is another one that's near and dear to their heart. Yeah. And these are all species that are both serve a purpose for the recreational angler, but also in some of them in aspect provide opportunities for commercial fishing, but not in that processor style, not in the what we think of as like damage in the ocean, some big vessel going out there and scooping everything up. Right. This is like one fish at a time type of a fishery. And it's not sustainable on a level where it's going to support some big factory ship, but it may support a family, a single family, or maybe two families. Yeah. Two families working together in a business. So that's why we're proud to team up with them. They helped us a lot in their research data has helped us a ton in the fisheries in the past few years. And they continue to work with that. They've also helped us a lot with our outreach, which is what we're trying to grow as well. We're trying to make sure we can get more youth on the water on a yearly basis. Yeah. So one thing I can share with you right now, because we just started this past week, I'm really proud. We have a partnership with the Oceanside Unified School District now, and OHS, Mr. Randy Zubietta, who's over teaching woodshop at OHS, has started a fishing club, and the school has agreed to kind of, we offer them, take them out at a greatly reduced rate, and the school district is, in lieu of like field trips, they're allowing the kids to come out fishing with us. We take them out fishing, and it's a blast. It's a blast.
That's
we had 25, I think, on Sunday.
Oh, very cool. Congratulations. That's huge. That's huge.
Well, I feel like it's a small thing we can do for the community. And it's going to sound a little cheesy, but I genuinely, this is me. Like I can't wait for the day that I get to the age in my career where someone walks up to me and says, "Hey, I came fishing with you."
Yeah.
I'm starting to see it. Guys in the industry, had some guys that are captains, but no one of recent has said like, "I've made a career as a marine biologist," or something. Just I decided to study the ocean, or I decided to do this because of what I learned here. So maybe
it'll come one day, but that's so awesome and so inspirational. I think that we sometimes take for granted that we live next to the beach. Oftentimes we'll swim in the ocean, we'll walk near the beach, but really having the opportunity to get on a boat and just, go along the coast and go out in the open ocean and, fish and kind of just, and you don't even have to catch a fish, just being out on the water, like you said, is extremely therapeutic. And it's just nice to be out in nature and be out in the middle of the ocean and, look at our mountain range and see everything that, Southern California has to offer. So I love that you're bringing that to the Oceanside Unified School District and that you guys have that partnership. And one day you'll get that inspiring story of, hey, I was, part of this and you inspired me. So we got to inspire our youth and advance Oceanside and all those good things. So I'm so thankful for you, Captain Ernie, and the Oceanside Sea Center. And could you tell us, how can people learn more about you, book a trip, attend a class? Like, here is your time to do a plug.
Well, I would say the easiest place to visit us is at oceansideseacenter.com. We have an email. We have our trip schedules are posted there. All of our most current data is there as far as fish counts and opportunities to be able to come join us. Everything's kind of tied together on that main platform. As far as reaching out to me or reaching out to any of us, you can email us through the website as well. And anybody that needs to get a hold of me can get a hold of me through there. It's info@oceansideseacenter.com. And we definitely point try our best to put all of our requests into the right hands, because we do get a lot of requests for marine life education or questions about marine biology, about fisheries, and we just try and keep everybody as well informed as possible.
Absolutely. And you guys are really good about updating your social media. So you guys do have Instagram. And what is your handle on Instagram?
So it's at Oceanside Sea Center is our handle for the business here. Yep. Yeah. We also have what is Nathan's right there. Oceanside Coastal Expeditions is ours as well.
Nice. Well, I have one last question for you.
Okay.
You're like, drum roll. Brrr. What does it mean for you to advance Oceanside?
What it means to advance Oceanside for me would be really get in the community to getting the information out there to the community to understand that there is what I would call a maritime industry and maritime industry opportunities for people here in the city of Oceanside. As far as from things as simple as harbor and beaches to captains, licensed documented mariners, to operations of we have a shipyard here, operations of for maintenance to the city, more of a city-based job. But there's so much, or just the private sector, like I'm in here. but there's a huge maritime industry which is very niche here in Oceanside, but it exists outside of here. You could start here very easily and maybe be fortunate enough to stay here for your whole career.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So thank you so much, Captain Ernie, for your time. We did it. You did it.
Awesome,
You're amazing. I
you,
appreciate you. I love the love that you have for Oceanside. I love what you and the Oceanside Sea Center are doing for our community. So on that note, thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.
You as well, Portia. You as well.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Advancing Oceanside Podcast, brought to you by the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. Continue with us on our journey to help inform, better educate, and ultimately advocate for Oceanside. You can view all of our other podcasts on any podcast listening locations, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or visit our YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe to catch all the latest updates on all things Oceanside. Join us next week as we host another influential leader from our community.